Why does fasting draw you closer to God? This ancient spiritual practice, embraced by many faith traditions, holds profound significance for believers seeking a deeper connection with the divine. By willingly giving up food and drink, we open ourselves to a transformative experience that enhances our faith, gratitude, and empathy. Fasting isn't just about abstaining from physical sustenance. It's a holistic approach to spiritual growth and reflection. In today's video, we will explore 7 powerful reasons why fasting can bring you closer to God, from fostering self-discipline to strengthening faith. Now let's explore how this sacred practice can enrich your spiritual journey and draw you nearer to God's presence. 1. Fostering self-discipline. Fasting is a practice that requires self-discipline and control over one's physical desires. It teaches us to prioritize our spiritual needs over our physical needs, which can help us develop a stronger connection with God. When we choose to fast, we consciously decide to refrain from the immediate gratification of our appetites, instead focusing on our spiritual growth. This act of self-denial is not merely about abstaining from food. It's about mastering our impulses and redirecting our energy towards higher spiritual purposes. Through fasting, we learn to quiet our physical cravings and listen more intently to the whispers of our soul. The process of denying ourselves basic comforts can reveal how often we let our bodies dictate our actions, highlighting the importance of spiritual discipline. As we practice self-control, we become more attuned to the needs of our spirit, finding strength and clarity in our connection with God. This heightened awareness helps us break free from the bondage of our physical desires, leading us to a deeper, more meaningful relationship with the divine. By fostering self-discipline through fasting, we open our hearts to God's presence, allowing His guidance to shape our lives more profoundly. 2. Encouraging reflection and prayer. Fasting provides a time for introspection and prayer. It allows us to slow down from our daily routines and focus on our relationship with God, fostering a deeper spiritual connection. By setting aside specific periods for fasting, we create a sacred space in our lives dedicated to self-reflection and communion with the divine. This pause from the hustle and bustle of daily life gives us the opportunity to examine our thoughts, actions, and intentions, and to align them more closely with God's will. During fasting, prayer becomes more profound and intentional as we seek to connect with God on a deeper level. The physical act of fasting serves as a constant reminder of our spiritual goals, prompting us to turn inward and seek God's presence more earnestly. This period of reflection allows us to address our spiritual shortcomings, seek forgiveness, and express gratitude for the blessings we often overlook. As we quiet our minds and open our hearts, we become more receptive to God's guidance and wisdom. Through fasting, we cultivate a habit of mindfulness and spiritual awareness, enriching our prayer life and strengthening our bond with God. This focused time of reflection and prayer transforms our fasting experience into a powerful tool for spiritual growth and renewal. 3. Promoting empathy and compassion. Fasting helps us empathize with those who are less fortunate and experience hunger on a daily basis. This increased empathy can draw us closer to God as we align ourselves with His values of compassion and love for all His creation. When we choose to fast, we momentarily step into the shoes of those who face hunger, not by choice, but by circumstance. This shared experience fosters a deeper understanding of their struggles and cultivates a heart of compassion within us. As we feel the pangs of hunger, we are reminded of the millions who live with this reality daily, prompting us to act with kindness and generosity. This empathetic connection encourages us to extend a helping hand and to serve others in meaningful ways, reflecting God's love and care. By experiencing a fraction of their hardship, we become more attuned to the needs of our brothers and sisters and more committed to alleviating their suffering. Fasting, therefore, becomes a spiritual practice that not only transforms our relationship with God, but also enhances our sense of community and responsibility towards others, embodying the very essence of Christian love and compassion. 4. Cleansing the soul. Fasting is often seen as a time of spiritual cleansing. By abstaining from food and drink, we are able to cleanse our souls, making us more receptive to God's presence and guidance in our lives. This act of self-denial helps us to shed distractions and impurities that cloud our spiritual vision, allowing us to focus more clearly on our relationship with God. As we fast, we undergo a purification process that strips away the excesses and attachments of our daily lives. This period of abstinence serves as a reset button for our spiritual well-being, helping us to release negative thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that hinder our growth. The physical hunger we experience mirrors our spiritual hunger for God's wisdom and grace, deepening our longing for His presence. As our bodies detoxify, so do our spirits, becoming more attuned to the subtle movements of God's Spirit within us. This enhanced spiritual sensitivity opens the door to deeper prayer, reflection, and communion with God. Through fasting, we cleanse not only our bodies, but our hearts and minds, creating a purified space where God's love and guidance can dwell more fully and transform our lives from within. 5. Demonstrating sacrifice and devotion. Fasting is a sacrifice that demonstrates our devotion to God. It shows God that we are willing to give up our physical comfort to seek a closer relationship with Him. This act of self-denial is a tangible expression of our faith and commitment, illustrating that our desire for spiritual growth surpasses our need for immediate gratification. By choosing to fast, we willingly embrace discomfort and discipline as a way to honor God and draw nearer to Him. This sacrifice reflects our dedication to prioritizing our spiritual well-being over our physical desires. It is a form of worship that goes beyond words, embodying our love and reverence for God in a profound way. Through fasting, we communicate our readiness to let go of earthly comforts and focus on our relationship with the divine. This devotion is not unnoticed by God, who sees our efforts and responds with grace and blessings. Fasting becomes a sacred dialogue between us and God, where our sacrifices are met with His presence and guidance. This practice strengthens our faith, deepens our spiritual connection, and reaffirms our commitment to living a life that honors and glorifies Him. 6. Enhancing gratitude. Fasting makes us appreciate the blessings we often take for granted, like food and water. This heightened sense of gratitude can bring us closer to God, as we thank Him for His abundant blessings. When we voluntarily abstain from these basic necessities, we become acutely aware of their importance in our lives. The pangs of hunger and thirst serve as constant reminders of the daily gifts we receive, prompting us to reflect on God's provision and care. This period of deprivation opens our eyes to the abundance we usually overlook, fostering a deeper sense of thankfulness for every meal and sip of water. As our gratitude grows, so does our connection with God, who is the source of all good things. By recognizing and appreciating these blessings, we cultivate a heart of thanksgiving, aligning our spirits with God's goodness and generosity. This practice of gratitude enhances our spiritual well-being, making us more aware of God's presence and active role in our lives. Through fasting, we learn to cherish and thank God for His continuous grace and blessings, deepening our relationship with Him and reinforcing our reliance on His providence. 7. Strengthening faith. Fasting tests our faith in God's provision for our lives. By relying on God for strength during fasting, our faith and trust in Him are strengthened, drawing us closer to Him. When we choose to fast, we voluntarily place ourselves in a position of vulnerability, foregoing physical sustenance and relying on spiritual nourishment. This reliance on God reinforces our belief in His ability to sustain and support us through challenges. Each moment of hunger becomes an opportunity to turn to God in prayer, seeking His strength and reaffirming our trust in His provision. This process not only deepens our faith, but also teaches us the profound lesson of dependence on God, rather than on our own abilities or resources. As we experience God's sustaining power during fasting, our confidence in His his care grows, fostering a stronger, more resilient faith. This strengthened faith is a testament to our commitment to God and a reflection of his unwavering presence in our lives. Through fasting, we learn to trust God more fully, experiencing firsthand his faithfulness and love, which draws us ever closer to him and fortifies our spiritual journey. Thank you for joining us as we explored the powerful reasons why fasting draws us closer to God. If you found this discussion inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe to Glorious Gospels for more insightful content on spiritual growth. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences with fasting in the comments below. Stay tuned for more enriching topics that help you deepen your faith and connection with God.